Hey, welcome to Select Arcane. Are you like me and have so many micro horses in your collection that aren't painted yet? Are a lot of those pewter? Are you not sure how to start your own and don't have the money to send them to another artist? I got you covered. This is all about how to prep your own pewter micro. This Maggie Bennett poppy seed is going to be the victim today. If you have a plastic micro like this one, please refer to my How to Prep a Resin video. That's where you want to go. This is going to be pewter only. First off, you're going to need a diamond coated file. You can get these on Amazon. Spot putty, I like using bondo. And primer. Sandpaper will also be helpful if you have some. Please note, because you're going to be working with pewter, which is a type of metal, make sure your primer is suitable for this. Diplicolor sandable primer is made for cars and ergo metal, but tamiya is also great for miniatures made of plastic or metal. And also note that because these micros are so tiny, you want something that comes in a fine mist. That's why I like Duplicolor. Anyways, let's get started. If you're familiar with prepping briar or resin already, pewter is really not that different, except for a few key things. One, it's really soft and malleable. So if you have a bent leg, you can literally just hold your fingers over the bent area and gently push it into position. No hot water, no hair dryers. And this makes it part of the reason why I feel that prepping pewters is a really good place to start for a beginner rather than the other materials. I find it just so much easier. Secondly, because the metal is so soft, it's actually faster, I feel, to prep. As you work over with your diamond coated file along all of these special seam lines, as you can see these little dents and lines, you want these filed down nice and flush to the body. You want them to be invisible. Because the metal is soft, I find it really easy. And number 3, because it is made of metal, it is more durable, I feel. Have at it, you won't lose any details. As soon as you feel that you've gotten all the seams off, or at least to the best of your abilities, your pony's going to feel really gross. It's time to take it over to the sink and wash it. Using an anti-grease dish soap like Dawn or Sunlight, just use a toothbrush to scrub your pony. And when all the soap is rinsed off, move over to the next step for polishing. Baking soda. This is my secret ingredient to a squeaky clean pony. I pour some over and use the same toothbrush to scrub away. This is not only going to polish the pony and make it really clean, but it's also going to smooth out any surface scratches. You'll also notice right after polishing that your pony is really shiny. Leave it dry on a paper towel and don't pick up the pony again until it's dry. Put some gloves on because next step is priming. I'm using gray just because it's easier for me, but feel free to use any color you like. Rotisserie chickening my little micro, I spin it around and apply the primer evenly. If your micro has a base, feel free to just set it down and spray around, and a lot of artists use fishing line or dental floss to hold the micro and spin it. Poppy Seed's just big enough that I can hold her. And if you're wondering why there's so much snow, yes, this was done in the winter, yes, I stacked my videos, don't come at me. Poppy Seed required 2 separate layers just to get her full coverage, and when she was dry, I just held her head instead and sprayed her tail. And now we have a fully primed micro, but we're not done. If you know me by now, I prefer to prime in a different color before going to white. This allows me to see any flaws I may have missed during the initial filing. And look, I see pinholes, scratches, seams. It's amazing what a coat of primer does. I go back in with my diamond coated file and just work on those areas specifically. And then I pull out the secret weapon, bondo. Now this stuff stinks, so absolutely wear a mask. I take out the smallest amount possible, which is still too much for this tiny pony, and slather it on the affected areas. This is specifically for pinholes and scratches. It's going to fill these areas, and when you sand them out, it's going to look like nothing's there. Bondo is meant for cars, just like Duplicolor Sandable Primer, so they're quite complementary to each other. It is very normal for the bondo to take off the primer, so don't worry about that. But saying that, it will cause a chemical reaction with some primers. Definitely do a test strip before you start working on your official ponies if you're doing Namopamo or commissions. Bondo dries really quickly, so you don't have to wait long. I take my file and gently scrape off the extra bondo. It'll crumble off almost like a wet chalk, and it'll leave behind these rusty brown marks that where the pinholes and scratches used to be, and sometimes even areas that you didn't even know were problems. I follow up with my sanding sponge, but you can use sandpaper, and go over the areas even more thoroughly. That'll make the repairs flush to the body and you won't even notice them. Now, do everything you just did already. Go wash that pony, let it dry, re-prime, in colored or white, it's up to you, and ta-da! We have a freshly prepped Pewter Micro. Remember that if you're not happy with that second layer of primer and you still see issues, you can still go back as many times as you need, wash and re-prime, just until you're happy. As you can see, I'm still handling Poppy Seed with a glove, and that's for a very good reason. I'm going to be using pastels on her. With any other media, it really doesn't matter if I touch her with my bare fingers, but with pastels, the oil from my hands will stick to her primer, and it'll ruin the whole thing. But that'll be for another video. Some of you may think that this video is exactly like how to prep a briar, or how to prep a resin, but honestly, when I was just starting out with model horses customizing, it really bothered me that nobody really made a distinction between the different types of horses there were, and I just didn't know if you had to do different things for different kinds of horses. And remember, I started back when gatekeeping was kind of a thing still. So even though this seems maybe a little bit redundant, I really hope that you found this video useful, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram @SelectArcane or on Facebook by the same name, and hopefully I'll get this pony painted really soon.